Matej, wstawaj, pobudka. Chodź na śniadanie, musimy iść dalej.
No.
Wstawaj!
O Jezu, jest wcześnie jeszcze.
Dalej śniadanie i jedziemy. Miodosytnie chcesz, come on.
No, do mnie dosytnie. Daj chwilę. Godzinkę później. Jeszcze godzinkę.
Teraz pokażę wam, jak obudzić prawdziwego miodopity.
Matej.
Matej, wstawaj.
Dalej Krzychu, robota do zrobienia, a ty się tutaj ociągasz. Idziemy do mnie dosypni.
Siemanko, dzień dobry. Jesteśmy na śniadaniu. Dzisiaj przed nami bardzo pracowity dzień, także trzeba się dobrze posilić. A czym najlepiej się posilić od rana? Tradycyjnym angielskim śniadaniem. Czyli to jest taki traditional English breakfast. Co tutaj mamy? Jajeczko w różnej formie. Ja akurat zaoptowałem za jajkiem w koszulkach, natomiast tradycyjnie można to jeść na jajko sadzone. Bacon, tradycyjna angielska kiełbaska, sausage. Baked beans w sosie pomidorowym, czyli takie pieczona fasolka, też w stylu naszej fasolki po bretońsku, tylko że bez żadnych dodatków. Grzybki, black pudding, czyli najprościej kaszanka oraz hash browns. To akurat jest chyba wynalazek troszeczkę bardziej amerykański. Myślę, że najbardziej można to przyrównać do jakiegoś placka ziemniaczanego. Taki grubo siekany ziemniak, smażony, bardzo fajny. Ludzie jeszcze dodają te pomidorka pieczonego. No ja nie przepadam za pieczonym pomidorem. Znam jedną osobę, która to lubi. Ja do niej należę niestety. Także sobie odpuściłem. Do tego stostowany chlebek i zaczynamy dzień.
Także już wiecie, gdzie jesteśmy. Jesteśmy częścią wielkiego Manchesteru, tak się nazywa ta aglomeracja. A jesteśmy w Lancashire meadery. Jest to najbardziej utytułowana miodosytnia w Anglii. Zdobywca kilku medali na Mead Madness Cup. I dzisiaj zobaczymy, jak oni robią te swoje miody. Mają dosyć dużo w ofercie, także myślę, że będziemy dużo dzisiaj nagrywać i oglądać. Zapukamy. Teoretycznie nas się spodziewają, ale nie wiem, czy wiedzą, że od razu będziemy nagrywać. Hello?
Hello!
Hi!
Hello, welcome! Come on
Nice
in!
to see you! Hi, how are you?
Yeah, very good, very good.
And there you are, two owners of this most award meadery in England. You got few medals, I think. Then couple. Yeah. Anne and Gordon. Before we start, I would like to know how you actually get to the meat production. What's happened that you actually in the place where you are now?
What caused us to make mead?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's his fault.
My fault. Your fault as well.
His fault.
Your fault. Okay, I'm a druid. We use mead as a ritual drink, and part of that ritual is we give an offering to the earth. Now, I don't want meads that were full of chemicals, fish, because that's not part of the earth, it's part of the water, things like that. So I wanted a pure mead. I couldn't find pure mead, so I started making mead for that pure, simple reason have given it all through to the earth without chemicals added.
By the way, wait a minute. Don't tell me you decide to do it commercial meadery just to actually do it mead. I believe you start as a home mead maker.
I was a home mead maker for 3 years.
And then what's happened is actually it's go to the large scale.
People enjoyed what I was making.
Right, okay. Sorry Gordon, but it sounds that it's your fault. I have to agree with Alan, but it sounds like it's your
Well,
fault.
I was a truck driver. I used to drive trucks. I used to do 70 hours a week. I was happy. I was out on my own most of the week. I came home one Saturday, it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I won't say the exact words that I was told I looked like, but I didn't look good.
Right?
And somebody said, I earn enough, give up your notice and start making mead, set the business up.
So that's where the argument comes from, as to whose fault it is.
Well, that was it. I was out of the bedroom on the computer. 5 minutes later, my notice was typed out. I ended it on a Monday.
Oh, big step, big step. Well, since you said that, it's hard to judge whose fault is that. So let's leave that subject between you two. And now I hope so you can show us how you actually produce the meat. Yep.
Yep.
Hi guys, obviously I'm here as well.
Yeah, so am I.
Gordon, really great to see you again. Can you take us through the first step of your production? So
Yep.
obviously you're getting your honey from your supplier. The honey arrives in, I don't know, barrels, drums,
It comes in buckets.
and buckets.
Yeah,
right?
25 kilo buckets. We tend to get about 60 buckets at a time, so 1.5 tons of honey. Comes in on pallets. We drag it in through our storage unit up the ramp into here, and then we bring it and put it into this room. Reason being, proper honey crystallises. False honey doesn't.
Yeah. Obviously you're buying, you know, the real honey,
Yeah.
the real deal. So as you guys obviously know, it's always a problem if you're making a mead to take it out of the bucket, especially if it's solid, in a solid state. You either have to put it in the water bath or heat it up somehow, or just put a really hard work and try to mix it with water. Even if you're using, you know, power tools, it's a hard job. So
It is.
what's your idea? What's your solution for that problem?
Well, many years ago I bought some honey from a local beekeeper, and had this little cupboard thing. They had 2 buckets in with vivarium heater lamps in to stop it from crystallising. I said, what temperature is that? He said, 38 degrees, it's the temperature of the core of a beehive. And that stuck in my brain. One day I came to use some honey, and it took me 2 hours to empty 1 bucket. I went, right, that's it, I'm building a honey room.
So this is the honey room.
This is the honey room. We are looking at getting a professionally made one, but at the moment this is the honey room. So in there we have a heater that's got a fan in it, and another fan to blow the air around, so it really circulates the air around in there. There are 17 buckets of honey in there at the moment, and they're at around about 40 degrees. So it's at 38-40 degrees, core temperature of a beehive.
Basically, you create, you know, the perfect condition for the honey.
Yep.
Second best thing after being in the hive.
Correct, yeah.
Brilliant. No, I really like that idea.
We're in the fermenter room, yes? Like,
Yeah.
Tell me how much honey you use per year, average?
We could probably do about 9 ton.
9 ton per year.
Yeah.
That's quite quite large scale. Selling that meat is no problem, because I know sometimes you actually run out of your stock.
Yeah, we'd
What we can do to prevent you not run out of the stock? Do you have to do it bigger production, or You have to do it worst mead.
Worst mead wouldn't sell,
Yeah.
fortunately. But
Yeah, we have to produce more to age it, because we age our meads 3 to 6 months before we even contemplate putting them in the bottle. Purely because we get what a lot of people don't like is malolactic fermentation. So part of our production process, we want that malolactic to happen. So when we've done the fermentation and the filtration, it's then stored for 3 to 6 months. We get the malolactic fermentation happening, it goes all lovely and cloudy, settles out, and then we've got to refilter it again.
Just to explain to our crowd who's watching, what's the malolactic fermentation?
Malolactic fermentation is you have malic acid. I think this is the way it works. In the mead you have malic acid, and there's a bacteria which converts the malic acid into lactic acid, which gives it body. I think that's the way it works. It might be the other way around. There's lactic acid and it's changed it to malic.
But definitely it's the second fermentation is from bacteria, not from the yeast. Five big containers, yeah, fermenters.
5, 6, 7, 8.
we've got 4 conicals and 8 IBCs.
Yeah.
You only use plastic, yeah?
We only use plastic because we get no contamination of flavour. We found stainless steel contaminates flavour.
And practical issues like access into the building.
Yeah.
Stainless steel, you can't get in, whereas they come in 2 separate pieces, so we can get them through the doors into the building and then put them together.
Yeah.
And plus the carbon footprint ongoing, we try to keep our carbon footprint as low as possible. So the ongoing carbon footprint, because we don't temperature control, whereas in stainless we would have to temperature control.
Good that you mentioned about temperature, because since we walked to that meadery, I must say it's different than others what I've been. It's quite high temperature here, so believe your fermentation temperature is quite high as well.
Yep.
Do you get any issues, any problem, or is that advantage what you want to use for faster fermentation?
I think it gives us advantage. It gives us, we get the higher fermentation temperatures, so we get the almond, the hazelnut and the walnut flavours coming through in the meads. You know, yes, it's classed as a fault, but it's also a bonus. It gives it that extra depth of flavour. You know, in winemaking it's known as a terroir, and because of our temperature we get these little faults coming in, which are again signatures of our meads.
Other question, like maybe not based on a production process. When people try your meat, customers,
Yeah.
and they never try meat before, what's the feedback?
You're better on that one.
Well, it varies from they still
Shock.
don't like mead, because obviously it doesn't suit
Yeah.
everybody. Shock because they've tried a more commercial mead, not necessarily a real mead, what we would classify as a real mead. And quite often pleasantly surprised. It's very rare that people can't see the difference between what they've tasted elsewhere and ours, even if it's not for them. But yeah, it's always a surprise because it's very smooth, very easy to drink, there's no sharpness to it. Any sharpness is there is because of the fruit we've used or anything to do with the specific flavour. So yeah, it's always positive actually. We very rarely have a negative reaction.
No, it's always been good.
So what's the most popular you will set in customers?
Viking's Blood.
Viking's Blood, which is?
Blackcurrant, blackberry, blueberry.
Right.
Yeah. So you get the mead and you get the fruit,
Mm-hmm.
which it satisfies a lot of people who don't necessarily have that honey palate. The people who don't particularly like honey, so they get that fruit. And that's the first flavour they get. They still get the mead coming through right behind it, but they get that first flavour of the fruit. That if we only made Viking's Blood, we still couldn't keep it in stock. It is that popular.
Right.
So if we make, out of 13 flavours, we probably make twice as much Viking's Blood as we make of the other flavours, and we still sell out.
It's easy to open meadery in UK?
Yeah, pretty much.
In the middle, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of paperwork, but it's not
So,
costly and
to
difficult.
do it in basic language, how much will take from the get idea to I want to do a meadery to actually finish all registration process and let me start ferment honey?
In the normal world, not COVID world, about 8 weeks, 10 weeks.
Something like that.
That's very quick, you
Yeah.
know, like in Poland you have to count at least 8 months.
Yeah.
And that's when actually you do it everything properly. You don't have any mistake on your property, or things what you have to fix it. So 8 weeks, that's
Yeah.
for Polish winmakers. I mean, wow, that's the heaven.
Yeah, I think the National Registrations Unit quotes a time of 45 days from receiving to approval or non-approval. In that you've got to do a plan of your building, tell them where everything is. We were lucky because everything was mobile, because we're using non-fixed fermentation, so, and we only had this little unit here, so it wasn't like a massive winery or a big brewery.
The premises license is the harder one
Yeah,
for the actual selling online.
that's a month. You've got to wait 4 weeks
For objections.
for objections from putting your application in.
In the nearest future, you thinking to increase your production, or at the moment you on a level what you have to stay for a little bit?
This is the production level that we're staying at. This sort of size and number of fermentations. Beyond that, you just become a robot, because all you're doing is mixing, fermenting, filtering, and leaving someone else to do the bottling. You need more people, because someone will be in here literally 24 hours, 7 days a week, just mixing, filtering, mixing, filtering.
We basically.
It's only 2 of you.
It's only 2 of us at the moment, so at the moment we are at our maximum capacity.
So Gordon, obviously we talked with Matty about the fermentation, the process and all that. The meat's done, finished. What's the next step?
Yeah, I've got to do the brave thing first, and what I've got is a little tray. Now what I've got to do is gently open the butterfly valve with this underneath and get the sludge.
Right, okay, so you're actually getting rid of the dead yeast and all the...
Yeah, the dead sludge that's in the U-bend and up towards the mead. There's still a lot stays in the side, but I get bulk of the sludge in that, and then that goes off down the drain, plenty of water mixed in with it. Then I'll connect hoses up,
And go through this sub filter.
go through the sub
So
filter.
this is the main filter.
This is the main filter. Now, when I first started, that was the filter we had. Well, for example, that filter, which we did filter some of these originally with it, took 18 days of filtration to do one conical.
18.
18 days. We have
Wow.
9
3
different
weeks.
grades of filter pad up here. So each one had to go through, and the problem is you've only got a certain speed you can go through at certain grades. So you've got to keep turning it down and turning it down. The final grade is 11 litres a minute.
After that filtration, is that it? Is this product finished, or they still need to mature or anything, or is it pretty much done?
Once that's done, it goes into maturation next door, and then we keep an eye on it for doing that malolactic fermentation that we're
Oh,
talking
gotcha.
about.
So that's when it happens after this filtration. Then that's when malolactic fermentation takes place.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when the malolactic fermentation's taken place, we then come back to filtration. It's manufacturing, it's production, it's brewing. It's never going to be easy. There isn't any glamour in mead making. It's hands-on, dirty. 90% of the job is cleaning.
Yeah, cleaning, sanitation. That's what people probably don't realise, but this is the key, isn't it?
It is cleaning and sanitation. I mean, I've got jet wash here for cleaning them to get rid of, because when we do a fermentation, you can have that much head in the 1200 litre fermentation. That much head, even that much head, depending on what you're doing. And the only way to do it is to get it off with a jet wash. And it takes about half an hour to get rid of the head.
So that's the glamour of the job.
Yep.
Brilliant. Well, that's great. We're probably going to move into the next stage.
Next stage is the bottling.
See you there.
Okay.
Hot mead been fermented, filtered, and now it's time for bottling.
It is that.
So what's going on in that section?
Right, what we do, we bring out of our storage area over there and bring it over here. We've got a barrel here of Yarl's mead, which is our chili mead. Then comes out of the barrel into this filter. This is a 5 micron filter. It's not there to catch anything other than debris that may have got in.
And then bottle goes here, yeah?
Bottle goes on there, yeah. So
And you
push
it, yeah?
yeah, and
you
slide it onto there.
Slide it. Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Slide it onto there. You've got 4 of them going on at once. So one will come up to fill, and then
And it will stop automatically, will not
it won't overfill. Bottle is full, it then comes off.
coming.
We then put a cork in. So literally, we've come over, we've picked a cork up, take the bottle off, and as it comes off, the cork goes on, so nothing gets in.
So, Gordon just showed us the process from the barrel, through the filter, through the filling station, corking, then the caps, and then obviously labeling. Obviously he says he's doing it all. Obviously the viewers know it's your job, as we all see in the Facebook photos, you know, with the headphones in their ears, dancing and singing. If you haven't, you know, social media, Lancashire social media. Telling you. But I want to ask you about that bottles, right? It's a signature for Lancashire mead.
Yes.
I've seen other meaderies using round bottles, and they just like roll in basically. It's like a constant supply, and it's much quicker. Where here everything is done by hand, so you have to literally, like Golden Show, you know, put it this way, then put it that way.
Yes.
And you're doing like one at a time.
Equipment issues for this bottle are huge. But we have to wash all the bottles by hand, because obviously if you've seen the glass making production process, it's not clean. So we have to wash every bottle by hand. There are bottle washing machines out there for round bottles, not for square. Labeling machines, we can get a twin head on a conveyor belt, twin head, so the bottle will go through and a label will go on either side at the same time. Okay. But to buy one of them is something like 2.5 times the price of one that a round bottle can be spun through. So there are negatives to having that square bottle, I have to admit.
Yeah.
But it looks so good that we will put up with it.
I have to admit, right, it does look good, and every time I see the bottle, I know it's Lancashire mead.
Yeah.
So no question about that.
Real
so,
mead is square.
Hey, yeah, real mead is square. So brilliant. I think we're pretty much, going to conclude our visit here. Thank you very much for your hospitality.
That's great.
But obviously we wouldn't be ourselves without the last final
Question.
But it's just, yeah, the weird, the strange question to the meat maker. So, do you want to take it away?
Yeah. Guys, if you could drink with someone in a history, or even this person who still is alive, you could drink your mead, who gonna be?
It could be fictional character, historical figure, or living person.
And why?
And why? And which meat? And which meat would you drink?
Who would I like to have a drink with?
I can narrow mine down to 2.
At the moment, my mind is a complete blank.
Well, have a think.
Well, I've narrowed it down to 2. The first one I thought of was like, yeah, and then I've...
Just
the second
fine.
one.
Just
Okay.
take it for both.
So the first one, I would probably drink a Scardy with Nelson Mandela and listen to his stories, what he's got to say, and how he became the president of South Africa and dealt with everything that had gone before. That would fascinate me. So that one. And then, as much as I'm not a massive fan of Loki, because obviously it was a dark one and we retired it, a Loki with Terry Pratchett and see inside his head and the world he created, sort of thing. I'm very new to Terry Pratchett. I didn't get it at the time. I'm coming to it now. So yeah, they'd be the 2 I could narrow it down to.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah,
Have you made up your mind yet?
I'd go on the Terry Pratchett. Don't think it'd be Loki, but going off Terry, I would go for Freya, I think, with Terry.
So Terry's in for a good time, by the way.
No, Terry's definitely in for a good time. No, actually, and somebody that we both know, is Professor Ronald Hutton. He's an archaeologist, a historical author, and he's one of those that, and this is the thing that I absolutely love about him, he'll go on an archaeological dig in a bright white suit, dig and walk away in a bright white suit and not get any dirt on it, even though he's dug. But yeah, Professor Ron is...
Which flavour?
I think that would have to be Viking's blood.
Or to see if he can get his white suit dirty.
Yeah. And just to make the party bigger, we'll have Alice there as well.
Alice Roberts.
Alice Roberts, Professor Alice Roberts. 2 professors, one an archaeologist, the other an archaeological anthropologist. So one deals with bones, one finds the bones.
So my question is going to be slightly different. Let's say we compare wine as classical music. Let's say wine is a classical music, and beer, let's say it's a popular music. What type of music is your mead?
Rock.
I love it, right? I love it. I was,
It's proper rock. It's
It is.
proper mosh pit. It's proper. Yeah, it's proper rock.
It's full on rock.
No i czas wracać do domu.
Tak, za nami zostawiamy największą, jedyną z miodosytni w Lancashire, w Bolton.
Przyjemnie. No, takie krótkie podsumowanie. Na pewno mają swój styl, z którym pewno nie wszyscy mogliby się zgodzić miodosytnicy, ale u nich to wychodzi. Co nas zaszokowało, to na pewno temperatura miodosytni i tych nastawów. I zostawienie tej przestrzeni, jak z mojej strony, zostawienie przestrzeni.
Dość duży headspace, ta podwójna fermentacja. No, ale tak jak powiedziałeś, jest to ich styl, jest to ich jakiś tam powiedzmy popisowy.
Działa.
I działa, przecież działa.
Działa.
Wyprzedają wszystkie całe nastawy, także nie mają z tym problemu.
Medale też zdobywają.
Medale zdobywają.
tak,
My kibicujemy tej miodysyki. Bardzo sympatyczni ludzie, jak mieliście zresztą okazję poznać Adi Gordona.
A już wkrótce szykujemy też małą niespodziankę, również z tą miodosytnią, ale to na razie zostawiamy w sferze takiej tajemnicy.
Tak.
To wszystko na dzisiaj. Pamiętajcie o łapkach w górę, subskrypcjach, to naprawdę jest ważne dla tego, żeby kanał się rozwijał. A my już widzimy się wkrótce w kolejnej miodosytni.
Tak jest.
Hej.
Do zobaczenia, hej.